Okay, so it's been a little while, but I haven't been up to nothing. Let's go over the things I've added and improved since you last saw me. And no, Unname's not one of those, but I have been calling it internally Asteroid, not spelt like that though. I wasn't likely going to continue to keep using this name through to release, but there's already a game on Steam spelt this exact same way, so definitely not using it now. I'll probably put up a Steam page between now and the next dev diary with a work in progress name as long as I can get some actual background art assets done so I can get some nice looking screenshots. But yeah, we'll see what I can do. Anyway, enough talk of what's not actually done yet, let's talk about things that have been done. Wow, I cannot believe I didn't show this off last time as it was pretty far along, but this is the main menu environment, the Hangar. It's also the home of the loadout menu, which looks a lot better than last time I showed it. The one thing that still needs to be implemented is a window showing off the stats of your ship. These stats are obviously affected by the loadout options you pick in this menu. Now, those of you with a sharp eye might have noticed, in-game the Hangar is actually missing quite a bit of its textures, and a lot of the scattered terrain pieces aren't in there too. I stopped importing the textures once I wasn't 100% sure this Hangar scene was what I wanted to go for the main menu. I was thinking the ship being attached to a platform being pulled up an elevator or something, but I'm probably going to add some sort of railed system underneath the ship going to this big door that's in the scene and have that open with sort of a launch bay kind of feel to it. I'll need to make a few more assets for that to happen, but it shouldn't be too much work. Having the main menu and loadout menu look more like a hangar/launch bay than just a hangar would give a bit more context to how the ship goes from being in a hangar to being out in space in a dogfight. Anyway, back to things that actually have been done. We've got better explosion effects with actual ship chunks that fly out when you do blow up a ship. On top of that, we've got some rudimentary impact effects that obviously still need a bit of work. The way the old AI worked was a bit archaic. It ran off basically one... everything ran off the event tick. This is obviously a really bad idea, but it was working and there wasn't really any problems with it, so I just kept going with it from there. However, I've gone back now and changed it so it's not like that anymore. The movement, turning, and figuring out what it should currently be doing in terms of pathing are figured out on a repeating custom event, and everything else is run off custom events that are triggered from context-sensitive situations. I may go back and rebuild all this again, but this is working pretty well for now, and it's actually very easy to customize to create new ship types. Speaking of ships, I've actually gone and implemented that radio system we were talking about last time. Each enemy type now has unique dialogue for entering the scene, finding a target, shooting at a target, taking damage, and being destroyed. So the way this currently works is when an enemy goes to perform an action, or an event triggers that would make them talk over the radio, they talk to the radio system and make sure no one else is currently talking, and that no one else has recently talked. Otherwise, you'd be constantly bombarded by 10 different enemies currently yelling that they're about to take a shot at you. The exception to this is when a new enemy type appears, so you know those enemies are now spawning and that they're going to be trying to kill you. There is also other dialogue played over the radio system which is an exception to this, such as going up threat levels, which is done by increasing your score. This also means that tougher enemies are about to start spawning, and also when bosses appear. These kinds of dialogues obviously take priority and mute the radio calls done by the standard enemies. There's currently no recorded dialogue for these lines, just text that I've written in that will appear as a caption up the top of your screen, but putting in the audio is extremely easy, I just need to get the files. Everyone speaking over the radio also has nice little character portraits. This way it's easy to tell at a glance who's talking. Also, another feature that has been added in terms of trying to improve the game feel is hit stop. So what that means in this game is when the player is damaged, the game slows time down to an absolute crawl, almost freezing time. This lasts for about a little bit less than a second, giving the player time to internalize what just happened and plan accordingly. Playing with and without this feature is pretty much night and day. Currently though, there is no visual feedback for getting hit, so that's next on the to-do list. There's also been a hell of a lot of bug fixing. Some of these include asteroids rotating at 500 km an hour, AI ships jittering when looking at you, the player ammo system acting up especially with the railgun, enemy ships flying off into the void, and so on. So, going forward, these are the next tasks that are going to get done. Finishing all the regular AI, this includes all their art assets as well as their actual AI. They're pretty much done, but there's a few more things I need to add, and I also haven't actually fully implemented the largest standard enemy, which is the battleship, or frigate, not too sure on the name yet. Getting some of the bosses implemented in at least a rudimentary fashion, finish the main menu/loadout scene, and yes, actually doing the environmental assets. Alright, so that's about it for this dev diary. I'll see you in the next one.